Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Reviewing Comics with me, your host, Alexander Turbin. Today we're going to be looking at Jonny Quest number 19 from Comico. Comico. But before we get into that, I'd like to show you some of my own work. This is Random Access. It's a full-size, full-color comic book. Anthology, actually. This is the newest one is number 34, and that'll be going out to patrons tomorrow, and a day late or 2 days late actually, but better than last month, which was kind of a week late. So I'm getting better, but also bigger than that and more important than that is becoming a full-blown anthology with more members and more pages. There's 20 pages, and you've got Alex Turbin, Jamie Barrows, Jeremy Duncan, Swayze, Doug Roberts, Jake Quirk, and more. And so there's 20 pages of awesomeness, and only $3 a month on your local Patreon at Alexander Turbin or Patreon /Alexander Turbin, actually. So I appreciate all the support, and you'll be seeing that shortly on the website, Comics Creators Marketplace, which will have all kinds of other cool stuff coming up. So keep checking it out. So on to the main event. So Jonny Quest, never a huge Jonny Quest fan. It was all right. If it was on, I might watch it. I might not watch it. I barely even really remember them. I know that they were mysteries. Maybe somebody would get killed or something. It was a very mature cartoon. I'm definitely going to say that, because it had a lot of adult themes and stuff like that, which was really kind of cool. But I was never a huge fan. Let me know if you guys were huge Jonny Quest fans. But this is a comic book from 1987, and one of the things some of the few things that I do remember, and I do remember thinking about, was that I always thought that Race was the bodyguard of Dr. Quest, was actually Johnny's dad. And then as I got older, I was like, well, he's not really, but he probably fooled around with the wife, and he's really the dad. And then you notice that Race's hair is white and Johnny's is blonde, so that really kind of goes beyond that. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But what does make sense is the Doctor's and Race's relationship. Yes, I think they are gay together. But doesn't matter whatsoever. It's just kind of a funny little thing to think about. So it starts off at the Quest research complex, which I don't know did he have a research complex? I don't think he did, but he was famous, and he was a scientist, and I think he did all kinds of government secret jobs and stuff. So he was really a big to do, and that's why he had his trusty bodyguard. So he's on the phone, Dr. Quest, and he's talking to somebody who has called, and they're talking about the Race Bannon detective agency. And apparently Race has moved into the complex, and they're friends. It's not just a regular employer-employee dichotomy. It's a little bit more than that. They're friends. They're partners. Well, not really partners, but they're friends and good buddies. And but Dr. Quest kind of gives the Race Bannon detective agency phone call kind of a little bit of a he's not into it. He's not liking it. He's not enjoying it. He's the big shot. He's the big man on campus. He doesn't like Race having his own business in the complex, and he kind of is giving him a hard time. He tells Race that it's a phone call for him for the detective agency, and Race takes the call, and it's really somebody that lost their cat or something. So it's something stupid, but it's really more about the Doctor being angry at Race for kind of infiltrating his house with this business thing. And then, but Race says, well, it's my home too. And so as soon as he says it, the Doctor regrets it, and he knows that he was a jerk. And as he's going to go after Race and apologize and stuff, he sees this note from Johnny. Dear Dad, Haji and I have gone to see Dr. Dharma so we can learn the secrets of the universe. Back for supper. Dr. Dharma? So then it kind of cuts to in the city. I'm not sure where this is. The Florida sky. Oh, so okay, so they're in Florida, and Johnny and Haji are in Florida. Must be Miami, I guess, or whatever. And they're looking for a master of mysticism, master of Hindu. It must be the Hindu thing. So Johnny and Haji are just kind of talking about that, and Haji is telling him how great and wonderful this Dr. Dharma is, and how he's one with the universe, and he knows the secrets of life and all this stuff. But then they get to his house, he's being kicked out by the landlady, and for being a deadbeat and not having any money. They come across him. They come to him. They get him up off of the street. And yes, they don't really talk about him being a deadbeat or homeless or whatever. Now, I guess he doesn't even have any belongings, but that makes sense since he's a spiritual leader. They don't really have a whole lot of belongings, but they kind of brush that aside, and then they jump into this whole thing of they want to be his pupils. They want to learn the worldliness or the not worldliness, the spirituality, and stuff like that. But Dr. Dharma says, "No, I'm not taking any kind of students at all. Get out of here. I don't want you around here." And then he talks about they're walking along, and I don't know what he's doing, picking up stuff or whatever. There's cards or something on the ground. A bandit is jumping around or whatever. And he's talking about how when he was a young man, he wanted to learn the mysteries of the universe. So he went on top of the mountain, spent all day climbing to the top of the mountain to find this spiritual leader. The spiritual leader told him that if he really believed in him, that he would throw himself off the mountain and believe that he could stop the leader could stop him from falling and dying. Sorry. Sneeze? No sneeze. So he did. So he said he did it. He fell, but he died. But then the spiritual guy, the spiritual master, came down, put him back together again, and accepted him as a student because he realized how much he really was dedicated to this life of spirituality. So then there's a car coming, and the doctor is in the way, and Johnny, of course, being the good Samaritan he is, pushes him out of the way. We cut back to Race and Dr. Quest, and Dr. Quest is coming to apologize to him, and Race is working on a car, and he's got his nose in the gears and stuff of the vehicle, which is it's a weird looking vehicle. It looks like something from, I don't know, some kind of futuristic thing. Is this just a lack of using reference? If you don't know how to draw something, reference is a great thing. I use reference drawing cars sometimes. Now I do. Before, I think I didn't, and it really made my art suffer. So if you really don't know what something looks like, you should really get a lot of reference and really dig deep into it. So anyway, Dr. Quest is talking to Race and saying that things like this is his first house that was really his, and the other one was either a government facility or his wife bought it for them, and this is really his first thing. And he apologizes, and Race looks up, and he's I don't know, he's got some kind of Groucho Marx look, and he's like, well, you could say the secret void, and the duck will come down and give you $100. I don't know why that's supposed to be funny, but I guess it is. Maybe that's a Groucho Marx or something like that reference that I just don't understand, so I don't think it's funny. Cutting back to Jonny Quest and Haji and Bandit and the doctor. The doctor says that Johnny saved his life from that on-speeding car, so he's going to take them on as students for one day, because he says it's not the same as traveling a day and then jumping off a cliff or whatever, but it is something. So he's going to give them one day to learn all of the things that they can from him. So they're just kind of walking along. He makes Bandit disappear. He's always saying these spiritual kind of things. It's almost though like it's a cross between spirituality and some sort of hocus pocus trickster person, psychic. So it's not really delving into any kind of real spirituality. It's more like a mix of things that he can do. So he says okay, and Johnny asks for his dog back, and he gives him back. They come upon this woman walking her dog, and he tells him to read her mind. Haji looks at her, and he declares a lot of stuff like things that you can tell from the body language and her emotions and stuff like that. And the doctor's like, that is not what I meant. What I meant was you actually have to read her mind. And then he says all kinds of things about how she was, it was her sister's dog, how she hates her sister, hates the dog even more, and she's all of these personal things that she could be thinking. And then Johnny is like, I wish that we could have some sort of thing to actually say whether or not he's telling the truth. And then he says, yes, I am right, little sir. You may rely on that. So it's him kind of giving Johnny a nudge, wink, wink, that he can read Johnny's mind as well. So he gives Haji another test. There's a guy next to them on the street, and Haji just starts talking, trying to read his mind, which he can. And as before, Haji was saying that he has had a little bit of experience in the mystic arts, and he can do a few things. He can read a few minds and things like that. So he's on his way already to being a spiritual leader of some sort. Have they ever had a thing where Jonny Quest and Haji were older and they had some sort of adventures? That would be kind of cool, kind of interesting. But anyway, he's talking about him, and he's talking about how Harry had to run, had proof. Had to run. Harry had proof I'd embezzled, all faked, but so what? Always was a spineless coward. Now everybody knew. So he's a coward. He was in business with Harry, and Harry kind of hoodwinked him and cheated him out of his part of the business and all of that stuff. So this guy hears all the things that Haji is saying, and at first he's angry at Haji. He's like, that's disgusting. You shouldn't be able to pry into my mind, even though it's all personal stuff, and you shouldn't be able to do that. But then he kind of changes his mind, and he's like, who cares what everybody knows? I just want to get all my riches back. And so he goes to the doctor, and he wants to be one of the group. He wants to be a student along with Jonny Quest and Haji. So they end up in a little park or something. And the doctor actually, he's kind of manipulating space and time and reality around them. And he makes them feel like they're ginormous, like they're giants, like they're bigger than the city. And the businessman, he rips open one of the buildings, and he yells at his ex-business partner. He says he's going to get revenge and stuff. Johnny, and he accidentally pushes Johnny over, and they end up, actually, before that, we cut to Race and Dr. Quest. They're still working on the car. They're still just bonding. It's just some kind of basic dialogue. It's just them getting to know each other, and it's building their character and their relationship and stuff. Dr. Quest opening up about being a 16-year-old prodigy that everybody wanted to go to college, and Race doesn't really understand it. And Dr. Quest is just saying, like, it's all great and wonderful until you fail. And that's really kind of a little moment that really kind of makes this comic book into a greater whole. So then they kind of wake up. I think they're in trances when these happen. When they're obviously, he doesn't really make them giants. But they wake up from their trance, and the businessman is sorry to Johnny, and he's like, I really wish I could get my riches and my wealth back and all my prestige and stuff. And the doctor says, it is anger which blocks you. Goodness me, give that up, and wealth and position will all once more be yours. He doesn't really understand it. The doctor just kind of says to himself, I meant the anger you have against yourself. So like I said, there are aspects of like a cheesy hokey pokey kind of mysticism, but also there is an entwined and a real spirituality and psychology that he's talking about. I never said actually who wrote and drew this. My apologies. This is by, where does it say? William Mesner Loebs is the story. Ernie Colon is the artwork. Bob Pinaha is the letters. Catherine Mayer is the colors, and Diana Schutz is the editor. I guess it says report card, but that's editor, obviously. So they go get a hot dog. He's going to spend the last $5 on hot dogs for them as kind of a reward for them kind of helping him out. And the doctor has this little interaction with the hot dog vendor where he says he doesn't like it hot, but then he says something a little bit, what's he say? Oh no, very mild for me, please. And do not worry that your wife has left you and you are soon to be fired. These are but growth happenings. You should welcome them. You're full of hot air. Get out of here. So he makes this hot dog, and the doctor had said before that he likes it with no hot sauce, but he puts all kinds of hot sauce. But the doctor was either lying or he really doesn't matter. He's just rolling with it, which is really kind of what the whole comic book is about. It's just rolling with the punches. It's rolling with what's going on in your reality in your life. So it's kind of a deeper thing than just a silly little storyline. They go to the park. They sit down to some meditation, and this time instead of growing big, he makes them think that they've grown small, and they're like the size of a mouse or the size of an ant or something. And then they have their little Honey I Shrunk the Kids adventures where they run away from an ant and try to get away. Haji realizes that it's all about perspective, and he thinks that he tells them to have this like prayer thing or this wish thing where they actually want to be something else. So they end up being dinosaurs, and they've got these fantastic powers. One can fly, Haji can fly, Johnny can swim, and the other one, the businessman, is just this ginormous dinosaurs. But then a meteor comes and destroys their illusion, and they are popped back into their bodies. Johnny realizes that the ant was really tiny, and that the thing that destroyed them was really just a match, a burnt up match. And he's kind of learning that it's all about perspective. Most barriers, one called Johnny, are just a question of degree. As was said before, one can do whatever one wishes. Unfortunately, most people wish to be unhappy. So it's kind of a Buddhist thing too, where the three tenets or whatever of Buddhism is that life is difficult, and it's difficult because we want things, and that we make our own lives difficult by wanting things. So this is very similar. I don't know where these people show up. They just kind of show up, but they're friends of his. And Acid John and All Grits Mary are all friends. They're all I need now. So he's kind of deciding that even though he doesn't, he's not going to have his wealth again. He's not going to have his riches and all that stuff. He's deciding that all he needs is friends, and they're going to get along just fine without all that stuff. And that's kind of what the doctor was saying all along. And I'll show you. Oh, goodness gracious me. I must remember this. Helpless and hopeless. Yes, I can see this now. I'll show you. I guess if I can survive a meteorite, I can face down a slug like Harry Dunn. So he's going to call him and give the guy that swindled him out of all of that money a good talking to. He calls up the business, and instead of that, Harry has conceded that he did all this. He conceded that he did all this. He confessed. I was just looking for the word confess. I'm sorry. But he confessed to all that stuff, and that the business really needs him back, and they're going to give him back pay, triple back pay, and give him his stock options and all of that stuff. So he's going to get all of his stuff from his business back and more. But he says he has learned something. So he's, instead of coming back right away, he's gonna have the weekend to enjoy himself, and they're gonna buy some pizza. They're gonna have a party. So he and all of his new friends are gonna have a pizza party. And Johnny, and I don't say Johnny Quest, Mr. Quest and Race, they're all done in the garage with the automobiles and stuff, and they've been, done bonding. So they go back to the house, and they just kind of shake hands, and they're like buddies again. But then they open the door, and it's a party. It kind of ends in a funny little fashion, and Dr. Quest is like, Johnny. So it kind of ends like that. So as far as a review, I didn't have this growing up. I just got it. I actually never bought it. It was in my stepson's stuff that we were going through in the attic to see what to throw out and what to, because he's going to be moving shortly. But I just found it, and so I feel like Jonny Quest is pretty iconic, and that I always love Comico stuff. So why not give it a go? And I did enjoy it. At first, I looked at this cover and I did not understand what was inside. And I was like, look at all the disproportions, and the coloring was all wrong. I still don't love the coloring. But the proportions were all wrong, and it's all crazy. I didn't really like it, but once you read the comic inside, it makes complete sense, because it's actually part of the story, which is very odd, because so many times the cover has nothing to do with the interior stories. The writing is really good. Plot-wise, I mean, it is what it is. It's not my favorite story I've ever read, but it's a little bit more intricate than I thought was going to be. This whole spirituality and mysticism and the side stories of Dr. Quest and Ray's kind of developing their relationship, that was really kind of interesting as well. So I really did enjoy reading it, and maybe even a lot more than I thought I was going to, because as I said, Jonny Quest is not my thing. But I did enjoy it a lot more, and the writing was good. I never had to go back and reread anything because of the writing. I understood everything. Nothing was I did not understand anything confusing. Oh man, I'm getting old. But nothing was confusing. It was all rational. All of the dialogue was really good. Everybody had their own voices, and everything. They all spoke naturally, and so it was really good that way. As far as the art, it looks really older. It reminds me of Jack Davis kind of stuff, which is not really my thing, but it's obviously very clear and concise. I don't love the coloring. I feel like it's a cross between watercolors and marker, and it's just not really something that I'm really into. I think but for a Jonny Quest thing, I guess the brightness works, and I think it just would have been nicer if it'd been actually flatter and more like more like animation. I think that would have been cool. But like I said, the story was good. The artwork it's a little bit more cartoony than I would like, but it's also very reminiscent of the cartoon, so that's good. So I can't really complain about the art at all. So I've got really nothing to complain about. Would I buy more Jonny Quest comic books in the dollar bin if I was in the dollar store? If I'm in the comic book store? No, I would not. But I'm not going to. Normally, that's a base 7. If I wouldn't, then it would go down, be a 6 or a 5 or something. But it's not because of the quality of the comic. It's just because it's not my thing. It's not something I'm really interested in reading. So I just wouldn't. So, however, even though I wouldn't buy it, I recognize the good qualities of the art and the writing and the story and the characters that, a lot of people love. So I can't discount that whatsoever. I can't give it too high of marks because I'm just not into that thing. Somebody who's a Jonny Quest fan might really think this is like a 9 or 10 comic. They totally possibly could. But because I'm so not into it, I'm going to give it an 8. Everything is good. Everything's enjoyable. The writing, the art, the storytelling, the narrative art, the whole quality of the everything. So I'm going to give this an 8. Let me know what you guys think, especially any Jonny Quest fans out there. Let me know if you really think that a story like this is really cool, because it deviates from the traditional murder mystery or finding an Aztec city or something like that, Jonny Quest story. Would you rather that be that, or would you rather just some kind of weird story like that? Because sometimes they have to have, a big thing like it starts off. Grace has started a detective agency, and because some of that is because a few issues or the last few issues, they solved a murder, and so that's how they're becoming famous in the detective agency field. So would you have rather seen that as a story, the detectiveness, or do you like a break between the big storylines that go between comic books? That's actually a really good topic that I'm going to delve into quite a bit more, because there are quite a lot of comics that are in betweens, where you have like a guest artist, guest writer, and you're switching artistic teams, or you just have your writer and artist just doing something, one shot kind of thing before they move on to the bigger story. So it's an interesting thing to talk about in comic books. So I will get into that more, definitely. So like I said, Jonny Quest, I gave it an 8. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hitting the notification bell, and all that cool stuff. But more important than that, I really love the comments. I really love talking to you guys about comic books and just everything about comics. It doesn't matter if I hate a comic book or love a comic book. It doesn't matter. I still love talking about it. So that's more important than anything. So thanks for watching. It's a Monday. We've got lots of cool stuff coming up, and more readings. I did the last issue of Daredevil. I read it, and then I tried to load it. I thought it was all downloaded onto YouTube, but it wasn't. And then I deleted it on my phone, so I lost the whole thing. So I will be doing that either tomorrow or the next day or sometime this week anyway, because I've really enjoyed it. And it's too bad because I really thought I did a good job too. But anyway, thanks for watching, and we've got lots of cool stuff going on, and thank you for your support. And as always, keep on creating.